There comes a moment in every human soul when silence feels louder than noise, when the ticking of the clock isn't just a sound, it's a warning. Life is not a rehearsal. It is not a trial run. This is it, the breaths you take, the days you live, the chances you either seize or let slip away. These are the pages of your story, and the most tragic thing a person can do is waste the very life they were gifted. A life so fragile, so fleeting, so powerful, yet so easily thrown away in distractions, excuses, and hesitation. We are surrounded by endless opportunities, yet many spend their days scrolling through meaningless screens, waiting for the right time, forgetting that the right time is always now. You see, the world doesn't pause for you. Time doesn't stop to ask if you're ready. The sun rises and sets, whether you chase your dream or sleep through it. The years pass, whether you build something with them or waste them in regret. And one day, without warning, you'll wake up and realize more of your life has slipped into memory than you have left to live. Don't waste your life chasing validation from others, because no applause can fill the emptiness of a heart that never pursued its true calling. Don't waste your life fearing failure, because failure is nothing more than proof that you dared to try. Don't waste your life comparing your path to someone else's highlight reel, because your journey was never meant to be identical to theirs. It was meant to be extraordinary in its own way. Life is a single flame, burning brighter with every act of courage and dimming with every moment of doubt. You can feed it with purpose, passion, and resilience, or you can let it flicker out in regret. But remember this, when your final day comes, it won't be the things you owned that will flash before your eyes. It won't be the gossip, the grudges, or the wasted hours. It will be the moments of bravery, the risks you took, the love you gave, and the purpose you lived for. So rise, break free from the chains of comfort that hold you back. Stop waiting for permission to live. Stop handing over your time to fear, to laziness, to distractions that build nothing. Choose to write a story worth remembering, one that inspires others long after you are gone. Time is the most precious gift you will ever have, yet it is also the most fragile, the most fleeting, and the most unforgiving. You can lose money and earn it back. You can lose possessions and replace them. You can even lose your way and find a new path. But the one thing you can never recover is the hour that just passed, the day that just slipped through your fingers, the years you let disappear while convincing yourself that you had all the time in the world. The truth is harsh, but it is also liberating. Every second you waste is gone forever, and every second you use with intention is an investment that pays back for eternity. Think about it. How many mornings have you woken up with grand plans only to let them drown in procrastination? How many dreams have you carried quietly in your heart, waiting for that mythical perfect time, only to realize that days turned into months, and months quietly morphed into years? Time doesn't pause for your hesitation. It doesn't stop when you're tired. It doesn't wait when you're afraid. It doesn't freeze when you're unsure of yourself. It moves relentlessly, unstoppably, and you are moving with it, whether you realize it or not. There are people right now who would give everything they own just to have one more day, one more chance to hold the people they love, one more sunrise to watch, one more opportunity to do what they were meant to do. And here you are, breathing, alive, with time still flowing through your hands. How dare you waste it? How dare you spend hours on things that don't matter, conversations that lead nowhere, scrolling through lives that aren't yours, while your own story waits unwritten. You think you have tomorrow, but tomorrow is a lie we tell ourselves so we can justify wasting today. Tomorrow isn't promised. Tomorrow is a gift, not a guarantee. And if you do wake to see another dawn, it will only be because today wasn't your last. So why not live as if today is the only one you have? Time is a mirror. It shows you who you are becoming. by the choices you make with it. Spend your time wisely, and you will grow into a person of strength, discipline, and fulfillment. Waste your time carelessly, and you will grow into someone filled with regret, bitterness, and longing for a chance that will never come back. The hours you spend today are leeling your future, brick by brick. Every decision either builds a palace of meaning or piles up rubble of regret. The truth is, you are already trading your life for something every single day. The question is, what are you trading it for? Comfort, laziness, doubt, or courage, purpose, and legacy? When you understand the true value of time, everything changes. You no longer tolerate excuses because you see them for what they are, thieves stealing your destiny. You no longer waste hours in meaningless pursuits because you know each one is precious. You no longer postpone your dreams because you realize that waiting is just another word for losing. Instead, you wake with urgency, with fire in your spirit, with the determination to make every heartbeat count. Because one day, your heart will beat its last, and you will not be asked how much you plan to do. You will be remembered for what you actually did with the time you were given. Stop living for others' approval, because the weight of their opinions will crush the greatness you were meant to carry if you let it. Too many people spend their lives chasing validation from those who do not even understand their journey, trying to please a world that will always find something to criticize. Approval is a moving target. You can hit it today and miss it tomorrow. You can give your best, sacrifice your peace, and still hear whispers of doubt from the sidelines. And if you build your life on the shaky foundation of applause, you will crumble the moment the clapping fades. But when you build your life on self-respect, on values, on a vision larger than yourself, you will stand tall even in silence, because your worth will no longer be up for debate. Living for others' approval is like being trapped in a prison with invisible walls. You mold your choices, your dreams, your actions, to fit expectations that were never meant for you, forgetting that no matter how hard you try, you can never please everyone. Someone will always disapprove. Someone will always criticize. Someone will always see your light and try to dim it, because it exposes their own darkness. But you were not born to be small. You were not born to blend in. You were born with a unique fire, a voice, a vision, a soul that was crafted unlike any other. When you hide it to gain acceptance, you betray the very gift you were created to share. But think of how many people never start their dream business because they fear being judged. How many never share their art, their writing, their ideas, because they worry about rejection? How many never live the life they crave because they are busy living the life others expect? At the end of the day, those voices you're trying to please will not live your regrets for you. They will not carry the burden of your what-ifs. That weight belongs to you alone. And when you finally realize this, the question becomes painfully clear. Why should you waste your limited time on earth living for someone else's approval, when they themselves are too busy battling their own fears and insecurities? True freedom comes the day you stop seeking validation and start living authentically. The day you no longer need to prove yourself is the day you discover just how powerful you already are. You will find yourself walking with confidence, not arrogance, but with the quiet strength of someone who knows who they are and doesn't need permission to be it. You will stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop downplaying your gifts. Stop pretending to be less so that others can feel more comfortable. And when you stand in that truth, the right people will recognize it. The right people will be drawn to it. The right people will support you, not because you tried to impress them, but because your authenticity will inspire them. Living for approval is slavery, but living for your purpose is freedom. The moment you stop asking, will they like me, and start asking, will I respect myself if I do this, your entire life changes. Because in the end, you don't need a crowd to clap for you. You need the quiet peace of knowing you lived true to yourself, that you honored your calling, that you refused to waste your one life trying to fit into someone else's definition of worthy. Embrace failure as proof of growth, because every stumble is evidence that you had the courage to move, to try, to step beyond the safety of comfort. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the soil out of which success grows. Too many people fear failure as if it were the end. But the truth is, it is only the beginning of learning, refining, and becoming. Every great achievement in history has been carved out of countless failures that were never broadcast, never applauded, but always necessary. When you fear failure, you remain frozen. When you embrace it, you begin to live. Think of the child who learns to walk. They fall again and again, yet not once do they believe the fall means they will never walk. The fall is part of the process. So why, as adults, do we forget this truth? Why do we treat every setback as a verdict? Instead of a lesson, each failure whispers a secret, and those who listen unlock the wisdom that others overlook. It shows you what doesn't work, sharpens your focus, and forces you to dig deeper, to adapt, to rise stronger. Without failure, success is shallow and brittle. But with failure, success becomes meaningful and unshakable. Failure is proof that you are alive enough to take risks, bold enough to leave the shore of certainty. It is proof that you have a vision worth pursuing, one that demands more from you than what is easy or convenient. People who never fail are not lucky. They are stagnant. They are standing still, too afraid to reach, too afraid to leap, too afraid to live. But those who fail and rise again carry a resilience that no comfort could ever give them. They understand that failure is not a scar, but a badge, a mark of someone who dared to go further than fear would allow. The most dangerous life is not the one filled with failure, but the one filled with regret. Regret whispers louder than failure ever could. Failure can be redeemed, corrected, transformed into wisdom and strength. But regret is final. Regret is the silent ache of chances never taken, the ghost of dreams abandoned before they were ever tried. Do not let fear of failure trap you in a life of regret. For even in failure, you gain experience, you gain growth, you gain clarity, and that makes you richer than those who never even tried. History remembers the people who dared to fail publicly, who dared to push past ridicule, who endured countless setbacks only to rise higher than anyone expected. They were not superhuman. They simply refused to let failure define them. They refused to treat a single chapter as the whole story. That is what you must do. When you stumble, stand taller. When you fall, rise stronger. When you lose, learn harder. Every time you embrace failure, you add to the foundation of a life that cannot be shaken by storms. Failure will visit you. It is inevitable. But whether it becomes your end or your beginning is your choice. See it not as a wall, but as a doorway. See it not as shame, but as a sign that you are stretching yourself beyond limits. Wear your failures with pride, for they prove you were brave enough to try when others chose to sit in silence. And in the end, you will see that failure was never your enemy. It was your greatest teacher, shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Live with purpose, not distraction. Because a life without purpose is like a ship without a compass. It drifts aimlessly, pushed by the currents of circumstance, never arriving where it was meant to go. Purpose gives direction. It gives weight to your actions. It transforms ordinary days into stepping stones towards something greater. Distraction, on the other hand, steals from you quietly. It does not scream, it whispers. It consumes minutes that turn into hours, hours that pile into years, until one day you look back and realize you have spent more time watching others live than living yourself. The greatest tragedy is not that people die. It is that they die having never truly lived, having spent their days lost in distractions, instead of devoted to purpose. Purpose is not found in noise, but in clarity. It is not handed to you, it is discovered, built, and lived through choices that align with what matters most. You cannot stumble into a life of meaning by accident. You must decide what you stand for, what drives you, what makes your heart beat faster. When you discover this, every decision becomes simpler, because you begin to ask, does this bring me closer to my purpose, or does it pull me away? And if the answer is that it pulls you away, you must have the strength to let it go, no matter how tempting the distraction may be. The world is filled with endless distractions. Social media, gossip, comparison, empty entertainment, fleeting pleasures. None of these are evil in themselves, but when they consume your life, they rob you of your calling. They drain your energy, cloud your focus, and dull the fire within you. Distractions feel safe, they feel easy, they feel comforting because they require nothing from you. Purpose, on the other hand, demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. It demands that you say no to what is convenient, so that you can say yes to what is eternal. And though that path is harder, it is also the only one that leads to fulfillment. When you live with purpose, even small actions carry weight. Waking early, studying harder, working on your craft, taking care of your body, nurturing your relationships. These no longer feel like chores, but like investments. Every sacrifice, every choice, every hour becomes a brick in the foundation of a legacy you are building, and that legacy will outlive you, speaking long after your voice has gone silent. Distraction leaves behind nothing but wasted time and regret, but purpose leaves behind a trail of light for others to follow. Ask yourself, what are you giving your life to? Because whether you realize it or not, you are giving your life away every single day. Every moment you spend is a trade. You are exchanging your limited time for something. The question is, are you trading it for something that matters or something that fades? Will your days add up to a life of meaning, or will they dissolve into the fog of distraction? Living with purpose means refusing to be carried by the waves of the world, and choosing instead to chart your own course. It means standing firm when others drift, focusing when others wander, building when others waste. It means anchoring yourself to something greater than comfort, greater than applause, greater than yourself. And when you do, your life takes on a power and clarity that distractions can never match. Because in the end, a purposeful life is not just about what you achieve, it is about who you become along the way and the light you leave burning for others when your time here is done.